Good day, everyone. I hope you're well. Thanks for joining us on time. Let's just wait for 2 minutes or so, then we'll be able to kick off our webinar. Thank you so much for your patience. All right, so I think we can kick things off. Good day, everyone. Once again, thank you for dialing in from different parts of the world. You're welcome to the very first ADI webinar for the year. My name's Tahila Chimfwembe-Chilofia, and I'll be your moderator for this session. We do not take it for granted that we've got people from various time zones joining us today, and it's really a testament to the importance of today's session, titled Empowering Communities Through Sustainable Agriculture, Innovations for Climate Resilience in Zambia. Before we begin, let me go through some housekeeping items. The session is being recorded, so if anyone would like to have the recording, please feel free to reach out to us. To ensure a smooth discussion, please keep your microphones muted during the presentation. And if you have questions for the speaker, kindly use the Q&A function. You can submit your questions at any time of during the presentation, and we'll address them during the Q&A segment at the end of the session. We encourage you to engage, and to not only engage, but to engage actively in the chat, to share your thoughts or reflections. Please remember to set your chat visibility to everyone so that we include all participants. And to those of us who are not quite familiar with ADI, let me give you a quick rundown. Now, the Southern Africa Accelerated Innovation Delivery Initiative, Rapid Delivery Hub, is part of the United States government's Feed the Future initiative, which is a global hunger and poverty reduction program. ADI is an effort to combat the challenges of food insecurity in Southern Africa. And really through ADI, we provide critical support to smallholder farmers in the DRC Congo, Malawi, Tanzania, and Zambia by improving access to agricultural innovations. And today's discussion is a prime example of how ADI works to bring meaningful solutions to communities, fostering resilience and sustainability. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce our distinguished speaker for today's webinar, Dr. Oliver Kandela Bulaya. Dr. Oliver is the Project and Communication Coordinator at the Conservation Farming Unit, CFU, and is a leading advocate for climate-smart agriculture in Zambia. With a remarkable career spanning 24 years, he has dedicated his work to promoting sustainable farming practices and environmental conservation. Dr. Oliver holds a PhD in sustainable development from the Africa Research University, and he is a hands-on practitioner, actively working with small to medium-scale farmers to raise awareness about the impacts of climate change and to promote innovative solutions. He is a recognized voice in national and international conferences, advocating for practices that enhance climate resilience and sustainable development in agriculture. And we're so honored to have him share his insights and expertise with us today. So, Dr. Bulaya, we're eager to hear your perspective on empowering communities through sustainable agriculture and the innovative approaches that are fostering climate resilience here in Zambia. Doctor, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Tehila, for this wonderful opportunity, even for CIMMYT, for bringing together all the experts from different parts of the country just to come and hear what we are doing as Conservation Farming Unit. I welcome you all. Can I go ahead with the presentation?
Yes, please. Thank you so much. And thank you for the welcome. Please do go ahead.
Oh, please. Thank you so much. We are talking about empowering communities through sustainable agriculture innovations for climate resilience in Zambia. I'm Dr. Bulaya, project coordinator, and I'm representing Conservation Farming Unit. So we will look at introduction, or rather giving a background of what Conservation Farming Unit is. We will look at our partnership with CIMMYT under the ADI. We will also look at what is it that we have done differently under the ADI. We will look at the field structure, implementation progress, number of farmers reached, challenges and successes, and also lessons learned in a concise presentation. So even as we are looking at what conservation farming is, I think it is very important for every one of us to realize that Conservation Farming Unit was, formed in 1996. And this year marks 29 years of service in the promotion of climate smart conservation agriculture and climate smart agriculture. We've done this intervention in Eastern and Southern Africa since its inception. And we are not for profit as an organization, but we are a company limited by guarantee. And our mandate is based on accelerating or deepening the adoption of climate smart agriculture or conservation farming with a view to balancing food security and livelihoods, meeting the needs, of our farmers, and also prioritizing resilience, adaptation, and mitigation methods. And further, we are also looking at sorry, my slide is slow. You bear with me. Okay, so our second mandate is to promote innovative technologies and practices that can be applied to increase CA and climate smart agriculture. So we are involved in trying and also applying various technologies that could enhance production and productivity amongst our smallholder farmers. And thirdly, we are also facilitating and contributing to strengthening of agriculture market systems, including supply and demand side measures and value chain interventions to enhance climate smart agriculture and conservation agriculture interventions. At a regional level, we We've been involved in partnerships, with Kenya, Malawi, Uganda, and Tanzania. We've gone further to provide technical support, in Mozambique and Clusa, then Madagascar, CRS, Ghana, and Senegal. And at a local level, Conservation Farming Unit chairs the Climate Smart Agriculture Alliance, which is a government institution working together with the Ministry of Agriculture. We will look further at the partnership with CIMMYT. Here we signed, our sub-grant on 13th December 2023. And our operations will go up to 30th September 2025. But our operations began in January 2024 to implement the Accelerated Innovation Delivery programs. Our programs are being carried out in 12 districts here in Zambia. And in Central Province, we are in 7 districts. And in Southern Province, we are in 5 districts, namely Chikankata, Mazabuka, Monze, Kalomo, and Zimba. In Central, we are in Chiwombo, Kapirimposhi, Mumbwa, Ngawe, Luano, Serenje, and Chiwuyunji districts. Our focus area under ADI is to promote the adoption of conservation agriculture among smallholder farmers, promoting crop diversification, demonstrating and training farmers in post-harvest technologies, and linking farmers to market and access to finance. Also, promoting mechanization among smallholder farmers and linking them to mechanized, service providers. Besides that, we also bringing an aspect of economic smart agriculture, and this is where we train our farmers in areas of financial literacy training, because this is very critical, to enhance holistic transformation of our farmers. And I will highlight some different, activities that we have done as Conservation Farming Unit under the support of ADI, working together with CIMMYT. As an organization, we've engaged ourselves in gender responsiveness to ensure that our programming and implementation of whatever programs that we undertake is gender inclusive. In this, we've been trained by an expert under CIMMYT in the areas of gender, and the CFU ensures that every intervention that is done is gender sensitive. We've done the seed multiplication training, bringing together the staff from CFU and also some staff from the Ministry of Agriculture. As we go, you see the numbers that we've attained, during such very important training and focusing on legume production. We've promoted through technical advice also from CIMMYT in order to enhance drought-tolerant seeds. And these are resilient seeds that are very critical. In the way we promote climate-smart agriculture, I think we've taken a very good step in terms of ensuring that we guide our farmers in seed selection, because this is very critical as well. We have gone further under the support of ADI to establish 300 research demonstration plots. And this is 150 in Kapirimposhi in Central Province and 150 in Monze in Southern Province. And we've linked these research demos to agro dealers. The essence in concise is to ensure that we scale up, information delivery to farmers in terms of understanding, latest, development, especially in the seed industry, so that farmers can enhance a selection of these seeds of high value. So these research demos are providing very good information in terms of how we can accelerate information delivery within specified districts and using research demos. And we've also put up, off-season cropping systems or cropping systems, using irrigation. This is one step that we've advanced extremely very well in the work that we are doing with under ADI. And we've done a lot of activities that we look at in a short while in terms of field days and also in terms of ensuring that farmers uptake, the irrigation, which is an activity neglected or due to lack of information. Many of our smallholder farmers have not been doing this. As you are aware, many of our farmers have been so much of rain-fed cropping, but with these interventions, we've done much more of bringing in within communities demos, irrigation demos, being models, so as our farmers can learn on how best they can tap into the irrigation systems to enhance farming as business throughout the years. And we are grateful that through this support, we've opened up new areas, and these are the areas that we are propagating our interventions. And going further, we will look at some implementations that we have done as CFU. Before we do that, and I think it is very important that I look at a structure that is driving, this agenda of ensuring that we reach out to as many farmers as possible. We have 12 districts we are working in, and in these districts, they are managed by 12 district coordinators in each, who are scattered in each of these districts. And each district coordinator is managing about 40 lead farmers. And if we multiply 12 farmer coordinators by 40 lead farmers, this means that we have about 480 lead farmers. This is the model we use as conservation farming unit in terms of scaling up, our interventions. So for these 480 lead farmers referred to as farmer coordinators, each one of them is reaching out to 120 farmers. And these 120 farmers, these are farmers that are trained in 3 sessions, and I think we'll look at what this entails. So for each of these 480 farmers reaching out to 120 farmers, meaning we are in total reaching out to 57,600 farmers in period 1 training, which starts in July and ends somewhere in August. So this is, in a nutshell, the structure that drives our intervention. We look now at the implementation progress. From the inception, recruitment of the staff, and training of the staff, we engaged into opening of new areas, and I mentioned the areas where we are operating in. And from that, we engaged into stakeholders engagement, because this is very important. We've done this successfully in order, for our stakeholders to understand why we are there, so that they can buy in our vision or our objectives, and that we move together as a team in terms of enhancing the propagation of ADI intervention. So we did, stakeholders engagement relating to traditional leaders and Ministry of Agriculture, church leaders, and other organizations that are working in those particular areas where we are, seed companies and others. Also, we got involved into gender responsiveness training, where besides our staff being trained, we also trained all the farmer coordinators, so that they can understand, the direction that we are taking under ADI and CFU in terms of ensuring that no one is left behind. We identified also the farmer coordinators who are the lead farmers, of which there are 480, like I've mentioned on the structure that we have. And we had also to provide, capacity building for them to understand what is required of them. Apart from that, we did establish research demos. And apart from that, we also set up, off-season cropping models, like I mentioned, in terms of demonstration plots using irrigation facilities and farmers tapping into any water sources that are available. We did this, successfully, though we had some challenges in terms of some of these demonstration plots drying up because of prolonged dry spells. We had also field days, and also we did the seed multiplication training. We also conducted, period 1 training, which focuses on land preparation, essential, the importance of land preparation using various technologies such as basin making, also ox reaping, and also tractor reaping. We did also the mechanized, promotions. This is where we bring in various equipments, to showcase, the tillage service providers and to provide an opportunity for farmers to hire tillage service provision in order to enhance, land preparation technologies. This was done successfully. And also we did road shows. Road shows, we mean bringing in equipment companies and other organizations or companies that are providing equipment, solar energy alternatives and others, to equip our farmers in terms of providing a package of climate smart agriculture. This was done in all the areas to ensure that we scale up in terms of equipment provision, for the tillage service providers and also for the farmers, as well as to ensure that those who would want to buy, we link them to these mechanized, tillage service providers. Also, we did period 2 and 3 training before the end of the year. And we are expecting to contribute not less than 50,000 farmers who were trained around this period. Period 2 and 3 combined training consisted of training farmers in input application, seeding of various crops, and also weed management aspect, also integrated agroforestry strategies. And I think we did this before the end of the year to prepare our farmers for the planting season. And maybe going a little bit behind on point 8, where I talked about seed multiplication and training. This was a training that was a combination of conservation farming unit staff as well as the Ministry of Agriculture staff to bring such a collaborative effort. And now looking at various interventions that we've undertaken as conservation farming unit, we've during the training that we had, that is period 1 training, we reached out to a total of 96,791 farmers. And the youths under 15 to 29 years were 25,000. And those above 30 were 71,273. And we went further to provide the training also to school-going children to be able also to support their parents. And we reached out to 1,666. And the project staff, and the CSU and other organizations, we reached out to about 69 project staff. And the total number of the farmers that we reached out were over 97,000 farmers. So these farmers that we reached out are based on various interventions that I itemized, from the previous slide where we talked about mechanization, farmers attending the field days, farmers attending, road shows and all that. So combining all these totals, we reached out to over 97,000 farmers, and the records are there. And also we have the proof of the activities that are being done on the ground. From the interventions that we've undertaken, we had, challenges, and these challenges were in twofold. The prolonged dry spells that caused, some of these off-season water sources to dry up. And this was a challenge because some of the demos that we set up, we had to give up on them because we couldn't provide, water sustainability. And also, we had the reluctance of women participation as lead farmers, especially in some parts of the districts in southern province. Even if we brought in the issue of inclusion, where we have about 144 farmers who are ladies. This is about 3% of our lead farmers who are women. Some of the districts in southern province, for example, in Monze, we couldn't attend the required numbers because of resistance. But we keep on, training our farmers to understand the essence of participation in conservation agriculture promotion. And our success is based on the irrigation models. Like I mentioned, this was very successful, and it is something that we tried out for the first time as CSU under ADI. These promotions were successful. We planted various crops in terms of legumes, maize, and farmers could sell maize, during dry season, which was a very good teaching point. We had also CA farmers remained resilient to effects of climate change, especially to those farmers who used rain-fed cropping. We carried out, field days, even when many of the farmers lost out in terms of crops because of El Nino. Otherwise, for farmers that practice conservation farming, we did field days and the minimal views, which was a very good indication that CA works, whether in prolonged dry spells or whether we have plenty rainfall. It provides avenues to ensure that the crop is sustained. And we had in other parts of the districts where we are operating in, we had more women participation, even as you have seen from the record that 48,603 women participated in the training against 48,158 men. This is a very good thing that we appreciated, the interventions that we undertook. And we keep pushing to ensure that even our youths, continue participating in sustainable agriculture. And as we come to the end of my presentation, the lessons learned, even as we've undertaken all these interventions, as you are seeing the pictures here, as CFU, we want to go everywhere where farmers are. We are not restricted by any barrier. And this is an indication that concerted efforts and collaborative efforts, towards meeting the expectation of the farmers is the only way that can provide a sustainability of our farmers in terms of capacity building. We've worked extremely very well, with partners within ADI in terms of providing different strategies and diverse interventions pointing to one thing, enhancing production and productivity. And under this umbrella, we've extremely worked very well, and there's been no barrier or anyone left behind in terms of building the capacity of our farmers. And we also learned that bringing on board traditional leadership and other key stakeholders in our operational areas enhanced, our propagation of climate smart agriculture and also the ADI interventions in responding to the challenges of our farmers. This was successfully done, and these are lessons that will remain in the hearts of our farmers during ADI interventions. As we conclude, empowering communities through sustainable agriculture innovations for climate resilience, it is very important to enhance production and productivity in this aspect by bolstering local economies and also ensuring that we promote environmental and biodiversity protection using experts from all these ADI partners that have really collaborated very well with CSU in order to provide these sustainable innovations for climate resilience. And we've moved exceptionally well in terms of pushing for adopting promotion of innovative practices and technologies. And we've collaborated extremely well with other stakeholders within our communities. And we've used the lessons we've learned for the 29 years that we've been in operational as CSU to enhance effective extension approach. And for now, we are soon to release the information working with research on M&E and CIMMYT to ensure that we push for the adoption levels. And also, we are pushing for the field days starting this month, end of January to February. We are pushing for the field days relating to research demos. And these are some of the activities we've done as Conservation Farming Unit. Over to you, Tehila.
Thank you so much, Dr. Oliver, for such an insightful session. When I hear you talking about thousands, when you mention numbers in the thousands, I always have to remind myself that thousands represent thousands of people, and thousands of people are thousands lives impacted, which will help us have a more sustainable future. I like how you also brought out just the element of, if we are in these far-flung areas, it is very important to work closely with traditional leadership. And I think that's one hack people are yet to really strategize on and leverage upon. So thank you so much. I stand to be corrected, but I'm yet to see any questions in the question and answer box. But if we have any questions for Dr. Oliver, please feel free to just beckon us by raising your hand, and he is here at your disposal. Any questions? Oh, there we go. One has just popped up. Okay, Brian is asking, what caused the reluctance? Very good question. What caused the reluctance of women being lead farmers in Southern Province?
Thank you so much. I think this has to do with the traditional backgrounds. As you are aware, some of these areas are rooted in corruption. Sorry, I'm talking of corruption, not corruption, but rooted in, a tradition, strongholds in terms of how a woman behaves and what is it that a woman can do. And there are areas that we noted specifically in Monze in the issue, relating to the issue of women, being behind. And this is why you've seen that even in cropping systems, you see that a woman will just go for groundnut. She can't grow these main crops. And I think these are some of the things that we need to push and ensure that some traditional barriers, are broken to ensure that everyone is brought on board. Otherwise, this is just an isolated area in Monze. But look at the other areas we are operating in. Mazabuka, we are talking of Kalomo, we are talking of Chikankata. You see Chikankata. You see that these areas, a lot of women are participating. We have women about 20, 15 to 20 participating as lead farmers, which is a very good indication. And I believe this is an isolated situation, and we need to push in order to ensure that our women participate.
Thank you. And we also have a follow-up to the same. So what strategies did you try to put in place to encourage women to take up leader farmer positions, and how did that work?
I think what we did, even in these other areas, and this is one thing that we'll keep on pushing, is to bring the families together. During these trainings that we had, especially the gender inclusive training or sensitization campaigns that we did in various communities, we brought in the traditional leaders. We brought in families, so that families together, even with their children, will be able to understand. So I think the best strategy is this, that we shouldn't call women for such meetings alone, because the men will not understand. If we include them in these models as lead farmers, other men, will take it up like a challenge, where they can even sue you, or they can even harm, our staff that are doing this work in respective areas. So I think it's the inclusion aspect, talking to the men, talking to women together, and also the traditional leaders are very key in order to help us to sort out these traditional barriers within the communities where farmers are.
Thank you so much. And Monica Fisher has both a comment as well as a question. Her comment says, thanks for a very interesting presentation. I'm pleased to hear that you found the responsiveness training of Dr. Emma as valuable for your work. For her question, she asked, could you kindly share a specific example of a lesson learned along your gender responsiveness journey that benefited from engagement with Dr. Emma?
Thank you so much. I think one thing that we learned as Conservation Farming Unit, and for your own information, Tehila, we have even a gender focal person, at CFU, which is a very good indicative that we are moving forward as Conservation Farming Unit in terms of responding to gender issues. I think the bigger challenge that we've had is to ensure that we help. Sorry, come again. Maybe I lost.
Sorry.
Come again with that question. Come again with that question.
Okay,
Sorry.
so her specific question is if you can share a specific example of a lesson learned along your gender responsiveness journey that that benefited from the engagement with Dr. Emma.
Thank you so much. I think one thing that we learned, which is very critical, is the adoption levels. If you leave out women participation in these activities, the results or the objectives, the absolute objectives of the organization or what we stand for cannot be entirely met. I think we learned issues of ensuring that when we bring aboard the women and the men, the youth, the disabled, there's a better term to use other than what I've used now. This will be able to help us in terms of holistic, development of the agriculture sector. Women are very resilient. Women are very much committed, and they are doing it all in these communities. For us as CSU, one thing we've noted, even in terms of adoption levels, you see that women are fast learners. They adopt these technologies quickly than men. Men will follow behind after, proving that women are doing it, and they would want to show it that they can do it better than women. But in the actual sense, women have been there to ensure that they add value in terms of apprehension of some of these technologies. So we've learned that women are easy adopters, and women participate easily in these technologies, and they are there to help to build together the family values.
Yeah, thank you so much. So with what you're saying, sometimes there's a bit of inertia, but once they catch on, it's sprinting all the way. Monica Fisher also says, thank you so much for that response. We've got a big one from Peter Setimela. He asks, have you encouraged FISP to use CA as part of government strategy to improve food security?
Yes, in our interventions, working together with the Ministry of Agriculture, collaboratively, even with the city companies and others, I think we are riding on the government policies. And these are things that we advance. And this is one thing that has helped us also to woo the support of the government in terms of the participation of district commissioners, the participation of permanent secretaries. Even when we have field days and other activities that we do, they are part and parcel of these interventions because we are driving the agenda of the government in terms of enhancing climate smart agriculture. We've gone away actually further. And not only that, we've been invited as Conservation Farming Unit also to build the capacity of extension experts in all these areas where we are operating in. We did the training in Chiwombo. We did the training, in Shibuyunji and other parts of the country where we were invited, to provide capacity building. So yes, we are working, riding on the government strategies.
Love the response. Thank you so much. Any more questions? Can we take one or two more questions? I guess we still have a bit of time. Do we see? I don't see any hands raised either. I'll just give it a few seconds just in case somebody's typing. Okay, I think it's safe to say we're done with the question and answer segment. Oh, there we go. We've got a question from Mohammed. Please, you can unmute your mic and shoot. Mohammed, can you hear us? The floor is yours.
Do you hear me well? Hello?
Yes, we can. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, thank you for your information. I would like to ask him to know more about what was the most challenges that you faced the last year.
Thank you, Mohammed. Dr. Oliver?
Thank you. If I got him well, he asked about the greatest giant that we faced as conservation. I think I need to be corrected, Taylor.
Yes, the biggest challenge.
Yes. I think the biggest challenge we had, Mohammed, is to do with drying up of some water sources. As you are aware, I mentioned that last year when we began our operations at CSU somewhere in February, that's when we started interventions. By then the rains were over. So we had to do to carry out off-season cropping systems. This is where we used different water sources such as wells, rivers, streams, and boreholes. But you discover that some of these areas where we had put up these these irrigation facilities dried up. We couldn't carry out, interventions. So from a big number of some of the irrigation facilities that we did as models, they had to drop down, to 60 somewhere there, to 80, I think somewhere there. So this is the biggest, challenge that we faced in order to enhance, off-season cropping systems.
Thank you so much, Dr. Oliver, and thank you, Mohammed, for your question. I think it's safe to say that we have no more questions. I've seen another one pop in. There we go. Thanks, Cynthia. She's asking, what has been your experience working in LF to 120 farmers? How effective is it in terms of reaching all the 120 farmers?
Thank you very much. This is a system that CFU has been working on for quite a long time. I need to agree that our model is not a new model. It has gone through a lot of building up, a lot of restructuring, a lot of lessons learned, a lot of building up. So for 29 years, this is the system that we've been working. Now, when you are talking about the lead farmers working with 120, how sustainable is this? So what happens is this, that when we have these training sessions, for example, period one session where we train farmers on land preparation using various technologies, these sessions are divided into three, meaning the first training, a farmer will be able to train about 30 farmers. The next training, in another operation, in another area, within his area, divided into three parts. Another training will take about 30 farmers, and another training will take about 30 farmers. Total will come to 120 farmers. So they are divided into sessions. It's not that a farmer coordinator will do a training in a combination of 120 farmers at one time. No, that is unsustainable. So we use what we refer to as small group dynamics. This is the power in training. And at CSU, we've trained our farmer coordinators together with our field officers in the facilitation skills and in models that will enhance the power of small group, dynamics. And I think this is the strategy that we make. On top of this, these farmers, 120 farmers, are monitored, by our district coordinators. These are the full-time employees. The lead farmers are farmers who are trainers of trainers. But for in terms of monitoring, we have a monitoring department of which I manage the monitoring department at CSU, of which we go down now to go and monitor what is happening at that particular farmer in terms of the training. Is it carrying out, expected results and all that in terms of adoption and all that? So we do that together with the field officers. And not only that, this is why we have stakeholders within those areas who give us feedback. They could be city companies because they also use the same model of ours. They use the same farmer coordinators. They also work alongside the same 120 farmers. So this is how we monitor these activities, using other stakeholders, using traditional leaders who are directly linked with each and every farmer coordinator.
Thank you so much. What I love about your response, really, and it just goes to reaffirm how you're not just worried about making sure that your reach is 100 kilometers wide, and it's not just centimeters deep, but you ensure through the small group dynamics that there's so much depth to the trainings, which equally ensures sustainability as well. I think it's safe to say now that we have no more questions. Dr. Oliver, thank you so much for that empowering session and very insightful session. And we are just so grateful for the work that CFU is doing, especially with regards of conservation agriculture. And it's just such a reminder that empowering communities through sustainable agriculture isn't just about food production. It's really about building resilience, supporting livelihoods and fostering a brighter future for not just the women, but the generations to come through, the youth as well. So on behalf of ADI and our partners, we want to thank everyone for participating in today's discussion and really hope that we have inspired you a little bit more to continue to explore innovative solutions for the challenges that we face in agriculture and climate resilience, not just in Zambia, but all over the global south, with particular emphasis to all over the globe, but with particular emphasis to the global south. So please do stay tuned for our next ADI webinar, as the details will be sent out soon. And until then, please take care and stay safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Leila.